Now, classic cars still amaze us with their innovative features, but not all of them are mind-blowing in the right ways. Here are 20 ridiculous classic car features that shouldn't have made it past that brainstorming session. Number 20, the 180-degree swivel passenger seat. Imagine being able to turn around and chat with your squad, or more likely scold your kids for fighting in the back. Yeah, you heard that right. The passenger seat of the 1960 Buick Flamingo could spin around to face the back seat. This quirky feature was supposedly designed for tailgate parties or for moms to keep an eye on the kiddos. It was done with good intentions, but still the feature was a bit ridiculous. Can you imagine trying to swivel around while cruising down the highway? It's a safety nightmare. But back in the 60s, it was considered innovative and stylish. The Flamingo itself was a showstopper with its electric flamingo pink paint job and customized interior. However, the swivel seat takes the cake as the most interesting feature. Fast forward to today, and we're lucky to have features like heated seats and Bluetooth connectivity. The swivel seat, though, that remains a relic of a bygone era. It's hard to imagine modern car manufacturers green-lighting such a feature. The 1961 Buick Flamingo swivel seat may have been ahead of its time, but it's definitely not something that we want to see make a comeback. Number 19. Hurst lightning rod shifters. Originally invented by Hurst, the Hurst lightning rods were arguably the most bewildering transmission feature of the 1980s. Imagine 3 shifters sprouting from your center console, each controlling a different aspect of your automatic transmission. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? Well, this quirky setup was designed to bring sequential shifting to the masses, allowing drivers to manually shift gears for better performance. As you may not have imagined that Chrysler and Pontiac embraced the idea as well. But how did it work? Well, 2 of the shifters controlled the first 3 gears, while the third handled overdrive. Drivers had to carefully coordinate all 3 levers to shift smoothly. Talk about a multitasking nightmare. It's hard to fathom why anyone thought this was a good idea. The lightning rods were supposed to simplify straight-line speed, but they ended up complicating the entire shifting process. The Hurst lightning rods may have been innovative, but they were also ridiculously complex. It's no wonder that they never caught on with the hot rod crowd. By the end of the 80s, computer-controlled manual controls made the lightning rods obsolete. Today, we can chuckle about the audacity of the feature. I mean, who needs 3 shifters when you can have a simple paddle shift or automatic transmission? Number 18. Illuminated tires. Wild car features like swivel seats and triple shifters make a little sense, but glowing tires? That's a new one. In 1961, Goodyear unveiled its translucent, cordless, and tubeless tires made from a synthetic rubber called neothane. Now, these glowing tires were the brainchild of chemist William Larson and colleague Anthony Finelli. It was something out of a retro sci-fi movie. Imagine cruising down the highway with bright green, yellow, blue, or red glowing tires. Goodyear even placed 18 light bulbs inside the tires to create a glowing effect. The company showcased its glowing tires on a Dodge Polara and Chrysler Silver 300, leaving pedestrians bewildered. However, the novelty wore off quickly. The neothane material was pricey, prone to melting under hard braking, and performed pretty poorly in wet conditions. The glowing tires never made it to production, but they did find a home on the iconic Golden Sahara II, a futuristic car with features like remote-controlled driving, aircraft-inspired controls, and a minibar. Maybe someday we'll see a revival of glowing tires, maybe perhaps as a safety feature or a gimmick for electric cars. Stranger things have happened, right? Number 17. Water-filled car bumpers. Now, water-filled car bumpers were the ultimate retro safety feature, or maybe not. Driving around with giant water balloons attached to your car, designed to absorb impact and reduce damage, may sound crazy, but it actually was a thing in the 1960s. John Rich, the inventor, created these hydraulic bumpers to make driving safer and less costly. The idea was simple. Fill vinyl chloride bumpers with water, which could release upon impact, reducing shock and damage. It was tested on various cars, including taxis, and surprisingly, it worked. In low-impact collisions, these bumpers significantly lowered repair costs by 56% and auto insurance claim payments by 58%. I mean, who wouldn't want to save money on a car repair? But despite its effectiveness, the really weird feature never really made it in the market. Why? Well, for one, the water inside could freeze during winter, turning your safety bumper into a battering ram. And let's be honest, they weren't exactly stylish, but the main reason was the development of newer and more effective impact-absorbing bumpers. Still, it's fascinating to see how innovative, and sometimes ridiculous, car safety features have evolved over the years. Number 16. The Ice Maker. The 1984 Toyota van was a true oddity in the automotive world. The cab-over design featured an engine that was mounted under the passenger compartment, because who needs easy access to the engine, right? right? But the real showstopper was the optional ice maker in the LE trim. That's right, an actual ice maker. This meant cruising around with a mini fridge in your van, complete with spill-proof ice trays. It was like having your own personal cooler on wheels. The ice maker was cooled using air conditioning refrigerant lines. Because why not? It's like Toyota thought, you know what's missing from family road trips? Freshly made ice cubes. While the ice maker might seem ridiculous today, it's hard to deny its novelty. Unfortunately, it didn't make the cut when Toyota replaced the van with the Previa in 1990. Europe got a smaller hot/cool box feature, but we're still wondering why it never caught on here. Maybe Americans just didn't want to risk ice cubes rattling around in their cup holders. Still, it's fascinating to see how car manufacturers experimented with fascinating features like this. Who knows, maybe someday we'll see a revival in-car ice makers, or perhaps an in-car coffee machine. Yeah, that sounds good. Number 15, an in-car record player. The in-car record player is equal parts fascinating and ridiculous. Take a moment to think about it. I mean, you're cruising down the highway with a clunky record player bolted to your dashboard, spinning 7-inch discs that skip every time you hit a pothole. It sounds like a joke, but Chrysler actually introduced this feature in the mid-1950s and called it the Highway Hi-Fi. Now, the issues were plentiful. Only high-end models with smooth suspensions could handle the bumps without skipping tracks. Mid-range cars, forget about it. And don't even get me started on the limited music selection. CBS developed special mini discs, but only a handful of albums were actually available. It was like having a music library the size of a postage stamp. An updated system in 1960 allowed for 14 discs to be switched, but who wants to change records every 20 minutes? Despite its absurdity, the in-car record player lingered as a niche option through the 60s. Today, it's a sought-after novelty among classic car collectors, but for the rest of us, it's a relic of a bygone era. We've come a long way since then. Cassettes, CDs, and then streaming have made music on the go effortless. But hey, there is something charming about the idea of spinning vinyl while cruising down Main Street. Number 14, rear backward seats. The Subaru Brat's claim to fame isn't its rugged off-road capabilities or impressive towing capacity. Instead, it's the bizarre rear seats mounted in the bed of the truck facing backwards. This ridiculous feature was actually a clever workaround to avoid the 25% chicken tax on imported pickups. To skirt the tariff, Subaru classified the Brat as a passenger car, thanks to those rear seats. Never mind that they were essentially useless and easily removable. Some owners did leave them in, subjecting rear passengers to a white-knuckle ride, clinging to grip handles for dear life. It's hard to imagine that this would pass modern safety standards. Despite its absurdity, the Brat's cult following has driven up resale value, even up till today. The chicken tax may be history, but the Subaru Brat's backward seats remain an iconic and head-scratching feature. Would you ride in the back of the Brat? Well, probably not. But it's a quirky charm that was meant for someone, I guess. Number 13, the built-in fax machine. The built-in fax machine was a car feature that's laughably outdated today, but was once a status symbol in Japan. Driving to work in the backseat of your Toyota Celsior or Lexus LS400 in the US, while faxing away as your chauffeur handles the driving, was a difficult adventure to pass up. It became popular enough that Audi jumped on the bandwagon too, equipping its executive spec A8 with a fax machine up until the late 2000s. Apparently, Japanese business people couldn't get enough of faxing on the go. Who needs email when you could transmit documents via phone line, right? It's amusing to think about how this feature was marketed as a luxury perk. Now fast forward to today, and the in-car fax machine is something just to laugh about. Surprisingly, fax machines still have a strong following in Japan, but as a car feature, it's pretty obsolete. We've come a long way since then, with smartphones making mobile communication effortless. And yeah, the built-in fax machine may have been a weird experiment, but it was wonderful, at least at the time. Number 12, pop-out windshields. One of the most striking features of the Tucker Model 48 is the pop-out windshield, designed to protect occupants from smashing their heads into the glass during an accident. It's an interesting idea, but you have to wonder, what happens when it pops out? Does it just dangle there waiting to be put back in place? Frankly, it was both innovative and a bit bizarre. The Tucker Model 48 was way ahead of its time in a couple of ways. With its Cyclops eye, a third headlight mounted on the center, improved visibility while cornering. This feature even inspired other manufacturers like Subaru decades later. But the pop-out windshield? That was a unique quirk of the Model 48 that no one really wanted to replicate. With only 51 examples built, the Tucker Model 48 is a rare bird. Its story is more fascinating than its features, though. The company behind it folded due to a stock manipulation scandal, leaving us to wonder what could have been. Still, it's intriguing to see how the early guys experimented with safety innovations, even if they didn't quite hit the mark. Number 11. Swivel seats. Imagine hopping into your ride and spinning your seat around to face the outside world. That was the bright swivel chair seat. It's like a captain's chair on a pirate ship, minus the pirate. In the 1960s and 1970s, car makers, couldn't resist, like Cadillac, Chrysler, and Oldsmobile, thought that this feature would revolutionize the driving experience. And let's be honest, it's pretty cool to swing your seat around like you're in a fancy office chair. But in reality, it's a bit of a gimmick. The space-consuming design and limited adjustability make it more of a novelty than a game changer. Although now we have cars that automate everything from seats to trunk lids, it's hard to imagine modern safety regulators signing off on such a feature that could potentially spin out of control. Still, you've got to appreciate the innovation and creativity behind it. The swivel seat might not have changed the automotive world, but it's a reminder that you're always allowed to experiment. So next time you're struggling to get out of your car, just imagine spinning your seat around and making a grand exit, pirate style. Number 10. Headlight wipers. Who needs windshield wipers for just the windshield, right? In the 1960s and 70s, some car makers thought it was brilliant to equip headlights with tiny wipers to keep them clean. Smart? Well, maybe you're driving through a rainstorm and suddenly your headlights start swishing back and forth like tiny windshield wipers. Well, Saab, Volvo, Citroën, and Mercedes-Benz were among the pioneers of this really weird feature. I actually had a Volvo S80 that had one of these. It's almost adorable, but in reality, the headlight wipers were more of a gimmick than innovative. They didn't exactly work wonders in heavy weather, and the mechanical complexity added potential for malfunctions. I think mine broke, and it was just way too expensive to fix, so they just sat lifeless on my car as long as I had that Volvo. Maybe in the future we're going to see a return, but who needs headlight wipers when you've got hydrophobic coatings and LED lights now that can cut through the darkest of nights? You enjoying the video so far? Well, hey, if you are, give this video a like and be sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on our future videos. All right, let's get back to the countdown. Number 9. Wrist twist steering. In the 1960s, car makers were creative with everything, including car steering. Enter wrist twist steering control, where drivers use wrist-controlled levers instead of a traditional wheel. Now, sounds cool, but was it practical? Models like the Chrysler 300G, Imperial Crown, and AMC Ambassador gave it a shot. To operate it, drivers twisted their wrists to turn the wheels. The idea was to reduce fatigue and improve ergonomics. More legroom was a bonus, but there were downsides. Getting used to it was tough, adjustability was limited, and safety concerns arose during sudden turns. Imagine navigating a sharp turn with just a wrist flick. There's no doubt that this retro feature is definitely ridiculous today, but it was an interesting blip on the automotive radar. Still, it's fun to imagine what driving would be like with this unique feature. Would you give it a spin? I probably wouldn't, but its uniqueness is undeniable, and so is its weirdness. Number 8. An onboard scooter. In 1980, Honda thought, why not throw a foldable scooter in for good measure? That not-so-bright idea became Honda City, a 1980 subcompact car with a bizarre bonus feature, an onboard scooter called the Motocampo. It was like buying a car and getting a free bike, but a little less exciting. The Motocampo was a 49cc automatic transmission scooter that weighed just 55 kilograms. It folded neatly into the trunk, awaiting its moment to shine. But in reality, this combo was not funny at all to most people. It was hard to fathom what Honda was really thinking, but you've got to appreciate the creativity. Even the most questionable ideas can become endearing with time. Anyway, the next time you're stuck in traffic, imagine whipping out your onboard scooter and zooming past the gridlock. Just don't try it. The Motocampo didn't change the world, but it was entertaining, at least, and a footnote in automotive history. Number 7. Removable body parts. Imagine buying a car and being able to swap out its body panels like you would with your favorite smartphone case. It sounds crazy, right? It's exactly what BMW offered with the Z1 back in the late 80s and early 90s. This sleek roadster featured removable plastic body panels, because who doesn't want to change up their car's look as often as they change their socks? The idea was to make repairs and customization easier, but in reality, it was just a recipe for disaster. Imagine losing a panel on the highway or having to deal with mismatched replacements. Let's not forget the aesthetics. It's like wearing a different colored shoe on each foot. Still, you have to applaud the audacious experiment. Who knows, maybe in 20 years, we'll be laughing at our current car designs and praising the Z1 as a visionary. But for now, let's just appreciate the old charm and be grateful for the simplicity of our modern rides. Number 6. Sliding doors. The BMW Z1's doors were a real showstopper, but not in a good way. Instead of swinging open or upward, they slide down into the door sills. Yes, down. It's like the car is doing its best impression of a convertible without actually being one. It's obvious that they wanted to create a sense of drama and flair. From the design, it's also obvious that the car was meant to allow the rider to get a feel for the outdoors. While driving, you could just reach out your hand and touch the tarmac. We don't advise doing that, though. But think about all the downsides. There are quite a number of them. First, the doors can get stuck. Was BMW trying to revolutionize car design or just confuse everyone? We might not truly know, but either way, this hilarious feature didn't quite make the cut. Number 5. Dog sacks. In the 1930s, car owners wanted to bring their furry friends along for the ride, but didn't want the hassle of dog hair and scratched interiors. So someone thought, why not strap Fido to the side of the car? It's genius, right? Well, that's how the dog strap came to be. The dog sack was essentially a canvas bag that attached to the running board and window, holding your pup in place as you cruise down the road. We can only imagine the look on your poor dog's face as the wind whipped through its fur. It's like sticking your kid in a backpack and calling it a fun adventure. Thankfully, this innovation never really made it to mass production. We'll have to give credit to the creative problem solving, but this solution is really more laughable than practical. Can you imagine the safety concerns? Hey, honey, I'm running errands. Oh, and I've got the dog strapped to the side of the car. The metal cages that attached to running boards were a slightly better option, but still not great. Number 4, the minibar. Talk about a recipe for disaster. The 1957 Cadillac Eldorado Broughams minibar in the glove compartment takes the cake for the worst car feature idea ever. I mean, who thought it was a good idea to let drivers pour themselves a shot while cruising down the highway? It's like saying, hey, let's add a distraction to the driver's seat and let's see what happens. The minibar was cleverly designed with magnetic glasses to prevent spills, but that's really where the genius ends. The luxury feature was reserved for the wealthy elite, and it shows. The glove box was essentially a high-end hotel room amenity kit on wheels, complete with a woman's grooming kit, comb, cigarette case, notebook, and even perfume. It's clear that this car was designed for the ultimate ladies' man, but seriously, who needs a drink while driving? And what about the poor passenger stuck playing bartender? It's a miracle this feature didn't cause more chaos on the roads. Thankfully, as safety concerns took center stage, this ill-fated idea faded into obscurity. Today, we cringe at the thought of drinking and driving, and rightfully so. So let's raise a glass, not while driving, of course, to the demise of this disastrous feature. Cheers. Number 3, the swing-away steering wheel. Meet the swing-away steering wheel, Ford's 1961 solution to the age-old problem of squeezing past the steering wheel with groceries. Apparently, putting bags in the car first was just too much to ask. The innovative feature swung the wheel 10.5 inches to the right, making entry and exit a breeze. It was a hit on the 61 Thunderbird and became a standard on the 62 model. The swing-away steering wheel lasted until 1966 when federal safety standards kicked in and it was replaced by the tilt-away steering wheel. The new design was fully automatic and moved out of the way when the door opened. Today we have adjustable steering columns and telescoping wheels, but the swing-away steering wheel remains a quirky relic of the past. GM and Lincoln did experiment with similar features, but they never became mainstream. The swing-away steering wheel may have been a brief phenomenon, but it paved the way for more practical solutions. Now we focus on more pressing issues, like where to put our coffee cups, for example. Number 2, the coffee machine. The Hertella Auto Caffee Machine was the ultimate accessory for the caffeine-dependent driver. This vintage dashboard-mounted coffee maker was designed specifically for the Volkswagen Beetle in the 50s. Why settle for a mere cup holder when you can brew your coffee on the go? The Hertella machine lacked a power switch, so it was always hot, it was always ready, whether you wanted it to be or not. Using it sounds like a recipe for disaster, or at least a semi-warm cup of joe. You fill the vessel with water and coffee grounds to a double-layer screen, and then it heats up. It's essentially tea brewing, but with coffee. And let's not forget the convenient magnetic cubs that stick to the machine. It's like the designers thought, you know what's missing from road trips? Scalding hot coffee and a side of distraction. Will car designers revisit this wacky idea? Well, maybe not. I mean, it was a bad idea then for a reason, but it's perfect fodder for a Wes Anderson film. Number 1, automatic seatbelts. Now, this safety feature sounded great on paper, but it drove drivers crazy. It was introduced by Volkswagen in 1972. These belts were meant to ensure that everyone buckled up, and technically, they did. But in reality, they were more of a nuisance. Imagine trying to get in and out of your car with a belt constantly in the way. It was like wrestling with a clingy jacket. Complaints poured in, and some of the frustrated drivers took drastic measures, literally cutting the belt. The design was flawed, and manufacturers opted for it only because it was cheaper than airbags. The Department of Transportation's 1978 study showed that automatic seatbelts did reduce fatalities, but they weren't as effective as airbags. By 1995, the rules changed, and driver-side airbags became mandatory. These automatic seatbelts may have phased out, as the last models to feature them were in the 1995 and 1996 Ford Escort and Eagle Summit wagon. It's amusing to think about the struggles that boomers faced with these awkward belts. Now we enjoy more practical and effective solutions, like airbags and smart seatbelts. Now, this was an exciting trip down memory lane, remembering these quirky vintage car features, but we're not really looking for any comebacks. So if you found this video exciting or interesting, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and share. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our new videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on our next adventure.